Hello and welcome, everyone. We are being joined today by our Search for Excellence winners from San Diego. Welcome to the room, everybody. It's great to have everyone logging in with us today. We are in the 2020 virtual conference for the UC Master Gardener program. Typically, we'd be meeting in person, but due to COVID, we're not meeting in person. We're taking it virtual, which means we're reaching a whole different audience today. Public's invited to join us, so welcome, come on in. I'll tell you a little bit about the Search for Excellence in a minute as everyone starts logging on. We're up to about 64, 65 people. Great, welcome into the room. I'm doing my awkward double hand wave. It's great. You got Debbie, Diane, Scott, wave to your fans. I know you got people. See? We all got them. If people would like to drop in the comments section where they're joining us from, that would be great. We always like to know where people are from. I am from my home office in Sutter County. Where are you guys at currently? Is anyone in a super fun location? Watching from Fresno, here we go. Alameda County, Fremont, San Carlos, San Francisco, San Mateo counties. Modesto. Oh, we have Thousand Oaks. Gosh, we got people from everywhere, you guys. This is
cool.
Far-reaching.
Wonderful.
Placer County, so up near me. Elk Grove, California. Very fun. I love it. All right, we're up to 91 people. This is great, guys. Thanks for coming. Yay! All right. Welcome, everyone, to the room. I'm going to go ahead and get started. It's great to have so many of you on board today here with us. I want to say congratulations to the UC Master Gardeners of San Diego County for winning first place in our Search for Excellence competition. My name's Lauren Snowden. I'm the statewide training coordinator, and I am happy to say that our Search for Excellence competition was fabulous this year. This competition is an opportunity for us to celebrate and showcase the tremendous talents of our UC Master Gardener volunteers from across the state, all over the state of California. So this year we had 14 applications that were reviewed by a panel of judges, and this work took place over the last over the last 3 years. So these have gone ahead and had time and have really been born out of something and had time to run. And so that not only did we know how they were created, but how they're going, and then what some end results are. So having a 3-year-long project is a big commitment. We appreciate everyone who filled out the submissions and applications to put it in. So many great projects to choose from, and we're happy to say that San Diego County's project took first place by wowing the judges with its impact on the participants, its low programming costs, and its ease of being replicated by other counties. So I'm going to hand it off to my friend down in San Diego, Scott Parker. Scott, if you would like to take it away for me, that would be great.
Thank you, Lauren. I appreciate that. Well, hello, everyone. My name is Scott Parker, and I coordinate the local University of California Master Gardener program. Before I turn today's presentation over to Debbie and Diane, I'd like to take just a few minutes to give you an overview of the UC Master Gardener program in San Diego County. Our program, which was established by our UC Environmental Horticulture Advisor, Vince Lozanio, was one of the first programs to originate in the state, and we graduated our first class of Master Gardeners in 1983. There were 35 members in that first class, and I'm proud to say that 2 of those founding members are still active in our program today. Each Master Gardener class is a 6-month program designed to give the students a solid knowledge base of non-commercial home horticulture and pest management. To date, we have conducted 20 Master Gardener classes in San Diego County and have certified 820 individuals as UC Master Gardeners. Our most recent class graduated this past June, and it's noteworthy to mention that this group of talented and dedicated volunteers completed their program in spite of the challenges and obstacles that COVID-19 presented. Currently, we have more than 350 active members in our organization. They serve on more than 40 committees within our program and provide support in a variety of areas, including program administration, membership education, and most importantly, public outreach and education. A sampling of our public outreach activities include our Master Gardener Hotline, which is staffed 7 days a week, our 2 demonstration gardens throughout the county, our school garden and community garden consultants that work with more than 400 schools and 80 community gardens throughout the county, our Speakers Bureau presenters, our adaptive gardening program, which serves the visually impaired community, FIG, or Friendly Inclusive Gardening, which strives to make gardening activities available to all, regardless of age or ability, our Beginning Gardening program, which teaches beginning gardening classes in community settings, our Earth Friendly Garden Certification program, which enables community members to have their own gardens certified as Earth Friendly, our Growing Opportunities program, which works with the juvenile justice system in San Diego, our many Ask a Master Gardener booths that happen throughout the year, and our very large and very popular large-scale events such as our seminars, plant sales, and garden tours. Additionally, we have a communications committee that coordinates our website activities, organizes our contributions to print publications such as local gardening magazines and our monthly column in the San Diego Union Tribune, and a monthly electronic newsletter called Dig It. One of our newest efforts is the one that we will be presenting to you today. Our Reminiscence Gardening Committee consists of more than 50 members that work with a population that is sometimes overlooked in our community, those individuals and their families living with dementia. I'm thrilled that the state UC Master Gardener program has recognized the value and work of this committee, and at this time, it is my pleasure to turn the presentation over to one of our Reminiscence Gardening co-chairs, Diane. Take it away, Diane.
Thanks, Scott. Boy, what an introduction. That's a big one to have to follow there. I'm here with Debbie Handel, who's the co-chair. Debbie's going to be pulling some of the strings in the background there by working the PowerPoint for us. Special thanks to Lauren, too, who's our crackerjack tech support in the background there. So we really appreciate you being there. It gives us a good feeling of comfort dealing with all of the technology involved in this type of event.
Happy to be here. Thank you.
And thank you to all of you for joining us today. I wish I could see all your beautiful faces. I especially miss seeing the smiles because we're all wearing face masks these days. You know, Debbie and I could talk about this program until the cows come home, but you're lucky we've been practicing, so we're only going to keep it to about 30 minutes today. We'll break it down for you, what we do and how we do it, and there'll be time for questions at the end. And if you don't have any questions, we're going to have questions for you. So hopefully you'll have lots of questions for us to respond to. We hope that by sharing our program, it will inspire you to consider implementing something similar for your organization. Or at the very least, it will raise your awareness of the benefits of horticultural therapy for individuals living with Alzheimer's disease and the related dementias. I know from experience that public speaking is probably close to the #1 thing on the list of things that people fear the most. But I also think a close second is the inevitable effects that aging can have on our memory. There's so much apprehension about this because there is still so much that's not known. The effects of these diseases are well known, but the cause is still a subject of a lot of research. I think what Debbie and I do know is that during a gardening activity, there can be precious, joyous moments that can allay the fears and help with understanding. It is possible to see the life within. Next slide, Deb. Last week, we celebrated World Alzheimer's Day. It was a day to challenge the stigma surrounding Alzheimer's disease and other forms of dementia. It was an opportunity to create awareness. The national organization tells us that there's almost 6 million Americans diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. And in San Diego County, our local association tells us there's about 84,000 people living with dementia. Many of them are living in memory care facilities. So many of our Master Gardeners have had firsthand experiences with caregiving a family member with Alzheimer's. Debbie's own experience caregiving her father, the two of them sharing a love of gardening, inspired her vision to create the program to meet the needs of this underserved population. She presented the concept to Scott and our board, and with their approval, it was off and running. The first activity was held with a partnership with Alzheimer San Diego in March of 2018. And with Debbie's leadership, Scott and 5 master gardeners conducted a sensory experience and a tabletop planting activity. The success of that event really became the springboard for the Reminiscence Gardening program that we're going to share with you today. Next slide. Making a difference. As all gardeners, we all know the joys of gardening and friendships you can create when you're gardening together. There are probably times when you have been in your garden recently and said, you know, I remember the time that I grabbed that ripe tomato off my dad's tomato plant. Or you recall the days when you and your grandma planted your first strawberry plants and harvested the sweet red berries. The program provides these same benefits to those with dementia. Plus, it helps them recall those pleasant memories of their time in the garden. The activities we use are suitable for all levels of abilities. Whether they're in a wheelchair, they use a walker, any of their frailties that they might have are not a deterrent to engaging in a fun gardening activity. And you'll see that in some of the photos that we'll be sharing with you today, like this one on the left hand of your screen. Next slide, please, Deb. While the program activities focus is on our garden partners, and that's how we refer to the folks in the care facilities that we work with, the memory care community activity directors and the staff, they're the family members of the residents and the caregivers also benefit. We invite them to participate with us, to join in the hands-on activity of the gardening, tabletop planting, whatever we might be doing that day. And you know, when you do that, everybody's got their gardening questions. So we do spend some time talking with them about what's going on in their garden, what's that unusual pest that's turned up in their plants that day. And then it also gives us an opportunity to share with them the local events and activities that are going on through Master Gardeners that they can participate in. And that gives them an opportunity to get a respite from their daily caregiving activities. Next slide, please. Here's a photo of Debbie and I with a couple of other of our MG friends, and we're hosting an information table at last year's Alzheimer's fundraiser called Walk for ALZ. And we provided information about San Diego Master Gardener program, and we answered gardening questions, but we really spent a lot of time talking to folks about their family situations or people that they know that have Alzheimer's, and talking about the Reminiscence Gardening program and how it might enhance or improve their lives. Out of this event, we made several good contacts with folks in memory care facilities that were very interested in having our program at their facility. And so we had a couple of new ones that jumped on to the calendar, albeit the calendar is sort of blotted right now because of the whole COVID thing. But you know, it was nice to make those connections with other care communities in San Diego. We have a video that you'll see later on. We've got a nice trifold brochure, I'll show you here, that we use to share information about the program. And we have recently posted some of our tabletop activities on the updated website, Let's Grow Together San Diego. I'm going to turn this over to Deb, and she's going to tell you a few more things about the program.
Thank you, Diane. Real quick before I get started, I want to share with you that very early on, I think it was our second or third activity, Diane had signed on as an MG volunteer. And as soon as the activity was over, she came up to me and she said, "This was wonderful. I loved it. I want to participate more. I have experience. It's in my wheelhouse. So please let me know what I can do to help you and how I can be further involved." So this is a wonderful time for me to say how important it is to have the right partner. So thank you, Diane. Our program funding came from a grant in 2017 to the county from the UCCE's Live Well in the Garden project. The goal was to enhance our public outreach for community well-being, and it included several of the committees that Scott cited earlier. The program impact was well received, and so we continued to nurture the RG concept, making revisions and adjustments along the way. Once we officially became a committee, the MG Association gave us an annual budget, And we're on our way to receive donations, to be involved with many things that we were able to partake throughout the county. We haven't been able to take advantage of all of our wonderful donations just yet due to COVID, but they're in the wings. This is the heart and soul of Reminiscence Gardening. Our mission statement is to stimulate garden memories, and we try very hard to reach these goals at every activity. Since we stimulate garden memories, we focus on people living with dementia, but these goals support a healthy lifestyle for anyone. It just happens that we're in the safe environment of a memory care community, but who wouldn't be up for building confidence and boosting energy levels? We know gardeners are lifelong learners, and we hope to retune the gardening skills within the cognitive abilities of these participants. Oftentimes we can tell when a volunteer is new to RG. On the way out, while we're leaving a memory care community, we overhear them say, boy, if I'm ever in this position, if I'm ever on the other side of the activity table, I hope somebody does something like this with me. We currently collaborate with 9 memory care communities and 2 locations that are non-residential, one of them being Alzheimer San Diego, where we started originally, and we do large group activities for up to 40 participants. The other new collaboration we're quite excited about is with Glenner Town Square, and it is an adult day center that's first of its kind, with an innovative center designed with several different rooms to take individuals with dementia back to a time when their memories are the strongest. Reminiscence Gardening is going to fit perfectly with their program. We strive to cover San Diego from end to end. It satisfies our desire to make it convenient for Master Gardener volunteers to volunteer near their homes. When Diane and I and Scott go to a new location, first we're sure that we're going to have volunteers able to cover that before we make the commitment. And then once we get in there, we can barely get the words out of our mouths before they are ready to sign us up. They want to know, how often can you come? Can you start tomorrow? Can you also do our assisted living? It's not a very difficult sell. This is a very nice photo of Roy Wilburn. He is the horticultural director at Cadence at Poway Gardens, one of our community centers, our memory care communities. And this photo was taken after Diane had delivered some soil and plants and materials and supplies for them to run an RG activity during COVID. So I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. The program costs are, we get a good return on our investment. The program is very affordable. We took that portion of the original grant, and we were able to get our durable goods, carts and bins and hand trowels and watering cans and things that we could use over and over at all of the activities. And so these prices here are for our consumables. Plants, we need fresh plants, of course, every time, and some decorative seasonal picks that we put in. We buy them each quarter when we are covering a certain season. And so it's about $75 for up to 16 memory care community participants. And then the large group activity, the non-residential participants, is a little bit more. It's about $200. So again, very affordable. These photos are of the back of my and Diane's cars. This is what we look like when we arrive at an activity. Diane has this cute, beautiful little electric car, and she's just a Tetris queen when she packs it. I don't know how she gets everything in there, but she does, and it looks pretty amazing. We just keep pulling things out, and she's the only one who can pack it back up, but she does a wonderful job with that. So this just gives you an idea of what we do take to each one of the activities. So before I go any further, Lauren's going to share a video with you that was a collaborative project with a RG team member who is multi-talented. She's a musician and an artist, and together she produced a beautiful video that will show you a little bit of what a typical RG activity looks like. And then after the video, we are going to break it down for you just a little bit. So thank you, Lauren.
Great. Thank you, Debbie. I'm going to go ahead and play the video. It does have audio, so you should be able to hear it. You may need to turn it up just a tad bit. It's a little bit soft in some spots, so I'm going to press play now. It is on YouTube, and we're going to drop the link in case you want to watch it later or share it with friends. So I'll go ahead and press play. So I have feedback that no one's hearing sound.
Correct.
There we go. So let me reshare my screen. I apologize, people. I'm going to stop my screen. I'm going to share my screen again. I'm going to share audio, pick the appropriate screen, share. All right, people, let me know about the sound. I'm pressing play again. Take 2.
The UCCE Master Gardener Program and the Master Gardener Association of San Diego County presents Reminiscence Gardening. Growers always want people better, happier, and more helpful. They are the sunshine, food, and medicine to the soul. Luther Burbank. Approximately 5.8 million Americans have been diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease, and that number will almost triple by mid-century. The Reminiscence Gardening Program helps meet some of the needs of this underserved population. The program provides a tabletop gardening experience for individuals living with dementia, including Alzheimer's disease, in a memory care community setting. The goal is to stimulate the minds, bodies, and spirits regardless of their physical and mental condition. Familiar smells, sights, and textures can inspire memories of participants' own garden experiences. The hands-on approach supports a healthy lifestyle by improving energy levels, reducing stress, building confidence, and giving residents a renewed sense of purpose. The Reminiscence Gardening team, made up of volunteer master gardeners, engage participants in a way that encourages social interaction and promotes relaxation. Activity number 1, sensory exploration. In this activity, residents explore various herbs, fruits, vegetables, and garden cuttings to activate different senses like sight, touch, and smell. Puzzles, seed packs, books, and vintage tools are shared to gently guide the participants to pleasant memories that might include being in their garden, outside in the fresh air, or picking their favorite fruits. Activity number 2, tabletop gardening. Tabletop gardening is an activity where participants create a garden in a pot, pumpkin, or other container. Guided by master gardeners, the residents choose flowers and adornments to arrange however they like. The activity facilitates eye-hand coordination and creative expression. The memory care community residents who participate in these activities experience a rekindling of pleasant garden memories and are able to retune gardening skills within their abilities. The residents will take these creations back to their rooms to enjoy long after the activity ends. The planted garden pots bring smiles to the faces of the participants, as well as the volunteers, caregivers, and the facility staff members. In March of 2018, 4 Master Gardeners facilitated a group activity for 30 participants at Alzheimer's San Diego. Since then, nearly 50 Master Gardeners have successfully facilitated 35 activities at 9 different residential memory care communities, reaching nearly 1,000 staff members, caregivers, individuals living with dementia, and their family members. Every Reminiscent Gardening team member brings their unique approach to the program to make these experiences memorable to both volunteers and their gardeners. The Reminiscence Gardening program was founded by 2 extraordinary women and continues to grow, bringing joy and purpose to thousands of people's lives. Reminiscence Gardening is a public outreach program of the UCCE Master Gardener Program of San Diego County. For more information on this program, visit the website at www.mastergardenersd.org and select it from the Programs menu. Reminiscence Gardening, a video by C. Brown. Heart to Heart soundtrack by C. Brown. Special thanks to Active Care 4S Ranch. Video clips provided by Anthology Films. This film is a Black Swan Ranch Studios production.
And we're back to our PowerPoint presentation. Back to you, Debbie and Diane.
Thanks, Lauren. That was awesome. It just, wow. It really makes me realize how much I miss being back in the memory communities. We've had to stand on the sidelines for so long now with this whole COVID lockdown thing. It just really kind of breaks my heart a little bit. But Dale's gonna, our Master Gardener friend here in this photo is gonna lend a little levity to it, and we're gonna tell you how we do it. So next slide, please, Deb. Debbie and I provide the program oversight, but we also join in the activities. There are also two team leaders, and there's about 50 volunteers. The volunteers comprise the membership of the Reminiscence Gardening Committee. The one thing that we really want to stress about the volunteers is that there's no caregiving experience required. We really don't need you to have caregiving experience to participate. We really just want you to come with the willingness to help and assist, and to really just be willing to set all your preconceived ideas aside and join us with your mind and your heart. Our focus is to provide an enriching garden experience for the residents of the memory care community. And we don't really get involved with any of the care of the residents or our garden partners. The facility staff decides who's going to participate, so they bring them to the table for us. And they're responsible for moving them away from the table. If somebody, say, has they're kind of antsy that day and they decide they want to get up and leave in the middle of the activity, Master Gardeners, it's not our role to assist them. The care staff has to step in and take charge of that situation and help with the garden partner with whatever is going on. So we really try to have at least one RG team member to every 2 garden partners. Next slide. And in this slide, you'll see, I think that's me in the foreground, it is. In the morning, the team arrives curbside, and we have a little chat. The team leader reviews the activities for the morning, what we're going to do, and any updates about the facility, any changes in care partners that we need to be aware of. And then we're off to set the tables up when we get started for the sensory activity. Next slide. And here you can see some of the gals setting up the tables on the right-hand side there. The tables are, the team members provide all of the materials for the sensory portion of the activity. their cuttings from their garden, fruits, veggies, pine cones, anything they think would be interesting and fun to share with their garden partners. The team leader brings all of the other supplies. So like you saw in the back of our cars, the images that Debbie showed you earlier, the team leaders provide all of that. So once all the materials are staged in the activity room or the patio, wherever we're working that day, and the team has set up the tables, our garden partners start to arrive. So next slide. We start with some greetings and some introductions. Some of the garden partners might remember some of the master gardeners, because what we try to do is to have the same team members at the same facilities so that they get to have a little bit of familiarity with the garden partners, and the garden partners in turn may recall some of the team members. They may not necessarily remember that specific team member, but they may remember that they had a fun time with us at the activity table doing a gardening activity that day. So once the tables are set up and the garden partners are in place, we've got greetings done and name tags are on, and we're ready to go. We're off to begin the day's activity with the sensory exploration, and I'll turn it over to Deb to fill you in on that.
Thanks, Diane. Personally, this is my favorite part of the activity. The tables look magnificent. The garden partners are all seated around us. They're ready to go. We're excited. And the buzz kind of starts happening. Like I said earlier, we're trying to rekindle those skills that they have and stimulate the senses, all of them, sight, touch, and smell. You can see this lady here. She's just getting the best whiff of this lavender plant right here. Eyes are closed. You can almost smell it yourself. You can imagine it. And so that's our goal. It also gives us an opportunity to get to know who we're going to be working with or what their capabilities might be on that certain day. So it's very, very friendly, very, very familiar. Going back real quick, one point I wanted to make about the lady who was smelling the lavender there, that the sense of smell often stays with someone long into the late stages of dementia. So it's one that we really do like to tickle. We've checked our cuttings to make sure that they're non-toxic and that they're safe to the touch. We watch for nibblers. It does happen. Sometimes things look very inviting and they might put them in their mouth. So we're quick to remove them or to ask a caregiver, a nearby staff member, to help us with that. So we're ever vigilant about that. I would like to share a quick story with you about something here, our vintage garden tools. We lay them on the table. They're sprinklers and oscillators, a hand trowel. A lot of them are rusty a little bit so that there's a tactile sensation to them. But one time at a it was Alzheimer San Diego, a large group activity, there was a participant there with his caregiver, and he was not having a good time. He didn't feel like he wanted to participate. He was nonverbal, and he was just sitting off to the side. And the caregiver was doing an excellent job of just having him there and as engaged as possible. But it wasn't until the caregiver brought him up to the tub we had of all these vintage garden tools where the man reached in and he took out a trigger style hose nozzle. And I was right there. I could see the transformation on his face. He started to smile and make the hand motion of watering, move his hand back and forth. And then he started to mimic the sound of water coming out of that hose nozzle. And this big strapping caregiver of a young man was moved to tears. He was fumbling to get his phone out fast enough so he could record it and share it with the family later. So we never know what part of the sensory exploration will connect, but on that day it was that. Seed packages, seed catalogs. You can see this gentleman going in the picture here, going front to back. He was going back to front, front to back, and he was so engrossed and so enjoyed this seed catalog. We use these puzzles that are designed specifically for memory impaired individuals. The ones we use are all beautiful pictures of garden shots, wheelbarrows, a little kitty in the garden, this one here of a beautiful lotus pond. And again, it's a nice time to connect to your garden partner to see what their skills are going to be, and maybe engage in a little conversation. We are careful not to ask questions. We don't want anyone to feel uncomfortable. We don't put them in a position where they can't remember. Instead, we try to engage them by saying, I love the pink flowers in my garden. I have a pond in my garden. And you never know what would stimulate an answer, but this is just a lot more friendly, a lot less, it's a lot less harder for them to have to respond. And we just love it the way it is. And then we have critters. We do bring a tub occasionally of red wigglers in after they're gloved, after the participants have gloves on. And we go around and they're nearly done with their garden pots. We let them dig out red wigglers from the worm tub, and they watch them for a little while in their hands. They can feel them wiggling around in there, and then they tuck them into their garden pots. And it's always a pretty exciting part of the activity. But nothing is as exciting. The highlight of the activity is when Scott brings his Madagascar hissing cockroaches, which you can see here, how engrossed this gentleman is. And I always find this part fascinating because the participants are not bugged out, if you will, by this. You know, they'll hold these rather large insects in their hands, and they hold them very close to their face, and they take a good long look. And if you look around the room, the caregivers and the family members and the staff members they're standing back a little bit, but these folks are right there. And it's just been a wonderful thing for us to have Scott bring them. And you know, Scott is not only our program coordinator and supports all of the Master Gardener programs, but he's also a Reminiscence Gardening Committee member. And so whenever we can have him there, it's wonderful. He has been so supportive from the very first activity still today, as you can see. So happy to report that there have been no casualties with the cockroaches, except for one lady, and had she had a shoe in her hand, we might be having a different story here. So
True.
Diane is going to tell you about part 2 of our Reminiscence Gardening activity. Diane?
You got another slide? There we go. Okay, so tabletop gardening activity is where we get our hands dirty. Well, I should say we sort of get our hands dirty, because we do provide non-latex gloves for our garden partners to help prevent against soil-borne infections. We don't want anybody to take anything more away from the table than their pretty plants. And you can see by this list of materials that the team leader provides, it covers everything from soup to nuts. Even down to the coffee filter that we use to line the pot with, so that the water doesn't drain out and make a mess all over the counter there somewhere. But not only do we create gardens in a pot, we might plant bulbs. We've created succulent dish gardens. We've used pumpkin shells, actual pumpkin shells that Debbie, bless her heart, and her husband and a few others helped slice the tops off and clean the guts out. And we filled those with soil and succulents, and that was a great fun activity. And then we've also done things like seeding trays of microgreen seeds to create a little microgreen feast there. Next slide. So in these pictures here, you'll see the black, what we call tidy tray in front of the woman in the photo on the left. In the tray, we place all of the things that they need for that activity that day, regardless of what the activity is. So they get the scoops of soil, they get their own trowel, the pot, the plants they select. We bring around the trays of plants, and they get to pick out what they want. You can even see in that one photo a little bit of the seasonal bling. It looks like it must have been Valentine's Day, because there's hearts, little heart stakes in the garden pots there. One thing that's important about this, I think, is that the team members are there to help. They're not there to do the pot or create the pot for the garden partner. And many times the garden partner wants to do it themselves, and they can work unassisted. And so we let them do what they can do on their own. And clearly, if somebody is not very responsive or having a bad day and is seated at the table but not interested in participating, we're more than happy to help them and kind of coach them through creating a lovely garden pot that they would have something to be proud of. Once we're done with the gardening activity, sometimes there's leftover plants or soil, and we donate that to the care community so that they could use it to freshen up their raised beds, like in the instance of this on the photo on the left. This is at Silverado and Encinitas out on their patio, and they have a lovely several raised beds, so they can use the soil to freshen the beds along with the plants. Next slide, please. Deb's going to play a short video here that she took with her camera, with her phone, of the gal, Gail, our team member Gail, is working with her garden partner, and they're engaged. They're having a great time doing their microgreen seeding. Gail's talking to her, she's responding. The smile on her face at some points is just, just takes your breath away. It's so sweet, such a nice, sweet lady. And then she starts to lose her focus a little bit. She looks at her hand, it's like, I don't know what this thing is in my hand. And then she kind of looks away like, I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm a bit confused. And at that point, we know the gardening is over, and we move on to the next thing. So what it reminds us is that we need to change our minds about people whose minds have changed. Back to you, Deb, for the big finish.
Thanks, Diane. Okay, here we go. This wonderful project came together out of the need for master gardeners to reach out to all of the new stay-at-home gardeners due to COVID. So our Master Gardener Communications Committee put this together in 2 weeks, which is amazing, and launched it on Earth Day, and it continues to be relevant today. It has garnered community partners throughout San Diego's school districts, a library system, several magazines, and our local newspaper. Through August, it's had over 124,000 page views. And I'm very happy to say that Reminiscence Gardening has had 5% of those page views. So the idea is once you visit the Master Gardener website and then you click on this link, you can visit one of these tomatoes. And we hope that folks will visit all of the tomatoes if you're on this page and check them all out. And if you were to click on Reminiscence Gardening, 4 of our tabletop gardening activities would pop up. So San Diego, as most of you know, is a multicultural community with a large Hispanic community, and many of the caregivers speak Spanish. So we've been very fortunate to have a Master Gardener beautifully translate those tabletop gardening activities into Spanish, and we hope someday to have them posted there in Tagalog as well. How do we stay in touch? Diane and I have a wonderful relationship with each of the activity directors or directors of resident engagement at all of the communities that we're involved with. And we were missing them. We were worried about how things were going for them. And frankly, we were worried about our program. Like, when can we come back, and at what level will we be able to come back? So we were happy to find out that they miss us terribly, and they were thinking the same thing. When we open again, please come back. You will come back, right? And of course, we said yes. We know that Reminiscence Gardening is something fresh for them to add to their resident engagement program. So the feeling was mutual. And during the pandemic, we felt that it was very important to reach out to these poor folks who were pretty much isolated from all visitors, and including their family members. And you can imagine that it would be very, very sad, very, very difficult. So in July, Diane and I delivered tabletop kits with everything that the staff there could use to run their own RG activity, albeit without us, but we delivered plants, and we delivered soil, and we delivered water bottles and bling and everything that they could use to do it all themselves. And it was so successful that we are planning to do it again in October. So like you, Master Gardeners out there, and to the public, we're all missing our friends and our connections and those that we network with. And our RG committee is very important to us. So we stay connected to them with postcards, and we email quarterly updates to let them know what is and what isn't happening in the RG world. We have one committee meeting a year, and that's coming up again in November. And it's a little bit of a family, like Diane mentioned earlier. We try to keep the same RGs in the same community, and it's really comfortable that way. You can see all these smiling faces after we just finished an activity, and I have a little secret to share with you. One person in this group is actually a resident and not a master gardener at all. So I'll share a quick story with you about one lady that we have at a memory care community up north a little bit. And she really is involved with us. One time we were having our pre-activity meeting, and she came up on us kind of out of breath. And she said, "I'm sorry I'm late, but I'm here now." And we made the circle just a little bit bigger and didn't skip a beat. We just said, "We're glad you're here now. Sorry we started without you. Let's go." And she facilitates the program with us, and she's just a real joy. So it's very, 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 very friendly. Someone told me early on that, and this was at Alzheimer San Diego, our large group activity, that sometimes it's real subtle, the difference between the caregiver and the person who's living with dementia. You can't always tell who that is. And that was so true. That was so right. So we learned early not to judge anybody and to just lead with our hearts and do what we know how to do best. So we would love to share more about our program with you. Our time is just about up, but if you would like to contact us and you want to start a Reminiscence Gardening program in your Master Gardener county, we'd be happy to share our activity plans with you, our inventory, our brochure, anything. The program is easily replicated, and we'd love to show you how. So please be sure and contact us. While you're writing down this contact information, Diane and I would like to thank our committee members. We'd like to thank the San Diego Master Gardener membership, our communications committee, and our board for their support, Coco Brown for her beautiful video, and our program coordinator, Scott Parker, for all the guidance we've received over the last 3 years. I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank Lauren for her help and guidance getting us ready for today, to Missy and the MG statewide program for the opportunity to present Reminiscence Gardening to you today. The Search for Excellence Award and recognition keeps us deeply humbled, and we were so honored to receive it. So, as we were sure that all of the Search for Excellence submissions were very remarkable and did a wonderful job of showcasing the best that Master Gardeners have to offer throughout the state of California. So to all of you who submitted your projects, congratulations. And I think that's about it. Finally, one last thing I'd like to say on behalf of all of us here in San Diego, go Padres. Yay!
Perfect. That's a great segue into all the positive comments we have coming in that are popping up on the screen. There's just so much going on out in the world right now. So to know that there's positive things that we can pull out and celebrate like this, I do really love some of the comments coming in of, you guys are still doing this. That's great. What a wonderful way to bring the community together. Really, congratulations. It is well-deserved. Thank you, Amber. That was her comment. We just really appreciate the work that people are doing out in the community and continue to do, especially with communities that, like you said, are definitely overlooked. We do have at least one question that came through. How do you select what programs are used for each session, and how long does a session typically last?
Who's going first? Me?
You go first, Diane.
Okay. Well, how do we decide? I guess, well, just sort of something pops into our head, I suppose. Sometimes there's not any grand plan. Well, I think for the most part it's seasonally driven, so it kind of depends on what we know we can find in plant material in the garden centers, and if it's Valentine's Day or it's the fall, Thanksgiving with scarecrows and pumpkins and that kind of thing. So I would say mostly seasonally driven. And then the activities typically last a little over an hour, from setup to cleanup, maybe about an hour and a half. So it gives us time to get all of our materials sort of wheeled into where they're going to be and unloaded and kind of staged, and get the sensory table set up. And then when everything is done, when the residents are starting to be moved away from the table, we do all the cleanup. So we do all of the packing away and the sweeping up and the wiping down and all of that before we go out the door.
Sounds like you're a well-oiled machine. And Diane, are you an excellent packer? I mean, you're Tetrising your car full of
She
things.
is.
There were so many things in that car. I'm very, very impressed.
It's like Mary Poppins. She just keeps taking it out of the
pulling it out of the bag. Oh gosh, we have a great comment. Brought me to tears. How kind to say. Wonderful presentation. We do have a question asking, do you serve profit as well as nonprofit facilities?
Go ahead, Deb.
Yes, we do. We do. Well, obviously, we're a nonprofit, but we serve where we find the need, where we can make the connection. We do research ahead of time on where we're going to go. And like I said earlier, it has to be a good fit for us as well. It's important to us how we reach out into the public, and it's a reflection on the entire program. So, yeah, we do.
That's amazing. Let's see. We just have lots of people giving you guys compliment after compliment. If you can see them on the screen, like truly. You guys, if you have questions, we're here for a little bit longer. They're just going to give you tons of compliments. You have a new fan club. Congratulations.
That's great. But if anybody else is doing something similar, I'd really like to hear, what they're doing. And if they've got, if we were doing our panel discussion, which I anticipated we would have been doing had we been live with this up in Tahoe, it would have been nice if folks could have shared some of their experiences in gardening type activities that they might have been participating in with this particular group.
Regardless, it sounds like you inspired lots of people. So that's see, so inspiring. Wonderful. You're just inspiring everybody everywhere.
It's pretty hard these days not to know someone who's affected with dementia, has it in their family. I shouldn't say they're affected with it, but somebody who's living with it, a family member, a friend, or you have someone who's caring for somebody at home. And we know all too well what a big population that is. So we hope to inspire people to peel it back a little bit and not be quite so afraid, and make the day just a little bit more pleasant.
All right. Our next question is, how do you vet facilities and know they're going to be a good fit?
Well, we, like I said, it was a goal of ours to stretch out to all the fingers of the community. So if we were a little heavy in one, we reached out to another. It took us a while to get out to what we call East County here. And when we finally did, it was a good fit. And frankly, if we were to go somewhere where we felt the staff wasn't receptive, or we weren't getting any kind of good communication back from an activity director, which I highly doubt, but if that were to happen, we would cease to go there, and we would look for, there's a lot of memory care communities in San Diego, and we're not saying anyone is better than the other. That's not for us to say, but we have to find the one that is willing to work with us and accept our Reminiscence Gardening program the way we want to give them. And in the beginning, I'm serious, they wanted us to come once a week. They wanted us to come every other week. They wanted us to come every month. And we cut that back so that we could go to other memory care communities and kind of spread the wealth a little bit.
Our next question is, what is the ratio of MGs to garden partners? How many staff people are there to help?
The ratio of master gardeners to garden partners is basically 1 to 2. So we do everything we can to have at least one master gardener, one Reminiscence team member per 2 garden partners from the facility. It's nice if you can do one-on-one. That's not always possible. And if we are a little shorthanded one day, then we can usually rely on a caregiver to step in and help out. The caregivers that are available to help are more than happy to help and, just jump right in. We can't really dictate who the caregivers are that participate and whether they can participate. Their duties that day are not known to us. So we just go in with the approach that we're going to do it all and try to do our best with it.
And we learned that the hard way, to be honest. Early on, we were overzealous, and we thought maybe just 3 master gardeners could facilitate an activity. And we learned that we didn't make sure that we had enough staff members, didn't clear that with the activity director. We were told they'd be there, but we didn't know to what capacity. And we were overwhelmed. It was very difficult. We had one lady fall asleep and she fell forward and she became disconnected from her security band, and the alarm went off, and we knew what it was, but we didn't really know what we were supposed to do. And so it was a little startling, and we learned those things early on, and just those are the kinds of things that we regroup afterwards and, okay, what worked, what didn't, where do we need to make a difference? So now when Diane and I and Scott go into to meet with an activity director, it's one of the first things we say is we need to make sure you can provide enough staff for the activity to help us out.
That's great. I want to end on some positive notes here as we wrap up. Your presentation was inspirational. Thank you for all you do. We're so proud of you. Wonderful idea. Thank you. I mean, you guys should start like just clipping all these out and just putting them in a jar and pull them out every day for a little inspiration. These are so nice. You have so many. There's too many to read. But I want to say thank you so much to the UC Master Gardeners of San Diego County. Volunteering in general is amazing. Volunteering in a group where maybe people don't get to see the public very often is even more wonderful, and connecting people back with a memory of gardening. I know that I've gardened from a very young age, and like you both said, like this is something that I would want to do if I was in this position. So I just think it's amazing. Someone, guys, gave you a it looks like a gold medal in the comments. So congratulations, you're now gold medal winners and first place Search for Excellence winners. That being said, we do have our second place Search for Excellence winners coming up today from 3 to 4. Tuning back into our YouTube channel and our Facebook channel. You can always subscribe and follow us so that you get these live updates when we do go live, so you don't miss a thing. All of this was recorded. It's posted on our Facebook page. It is posted on our playlist on our YouTube channel for the UC Master Gardener program. We're very excited to be able to feature our Search for Excellence winners during this conference. Typically, if we were in person, there'd be about 30 people in the room. Today, we've already reached 200. This is recorded. It's going out. The public's heard about some of the great work that we're doing that may not know that this is the kind of stuff that supports the UC Master Gardener mission. Our mission is to go out to educate people on gardening and home horticulture. Like, your home is wherever you are. Tabletop gardening, yes, you're a gardener. It doesn't matter. You live in an apartment, great. You live in a college dorm room, great. You're a gardener. We're all going to be gardeners by the end of this conference. We're all going to be better people for it. And I just wanted to say thank you for everyone joining us online today. I'm going to go ahead and take us out of the room, but we hope to see you back from 3 to 4. Awkward double hand wave, which is my favorite. Thank you so much, everyone. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.